We are on location here at Jim Tidwell Ford with Greg Richeson. Greg is the F&I director here at the dealership, and he's going to share with us a technique that he uses to set up his menu presentation. Specifically pay attention to the service contract setup, but there's also some great information in regards to some of our other products as well. Greg, thanks for sharing this with us, and whenever you're ready, take it away.
Thank you, Dan. So this is how we started out on the new car presentation here. So customer will sit down, we'll start out by thanking them for their business, and then roll into this right here. So Mr. Customer, Dan.
And what is it that you have right there, Greg?
Right here, this is the actual warranty guide. This is the Ford warranty guide. It's our sample one. You can get out of any one of the vehicles that's out there. There's usually spares running around anywhere. It's always good to have one, and I'll show you some of the highlighted areas that we use, but I'll go over this part with you. It's very powerful to have the words from Ford, not just me or not somebody else saying it. The power comes from the fact that this is from the factory, and we're explaining what is and what is not covered from the factory.
Great. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No problem at all. Okay. So, Dan, Ford's going to ask you in a survey if we reviewed all your paperwork and if we made sure you know exactly how your vehicle is warranted. So I'm going to go ahead and go over that with you, okay? All right. So, your new vehicle limited warranty is limited in the following ways. The bumper-to-bumper portion, Dan, is for a period of time that's 3 years or 36,000 miles. The operative term there being the word or. And the powertrain portion is for 5 years or 60,000 miles, whichever one comes first. How all that works is defined right here. It says Ford Motor Company dealers will, without charge, repair, replace, or adjust all parts on your vehicle that either malfunction or fail during normal use during the applicable coverage period due to a manufacturing defect in factory-supplied material or factory workmanship. Long, lengthy way of them saying this, Dan. If it's a defective part that causes the breakdown during that period of time, Ford's going to cover it 100% for you. Now the good news, Dan, is that most of the time when there's a breakdown, it's due to a defective part, but not always. So they have to define when they don't cover the vehicle. So that's 2 pages over. So right here it says the new vehicle limited warranty will not cover the following items. Number 1 is any parts and labor needed to maintain your vehicle. So that's literally maintenance. They don't cover oil changes, tire rotations, brake pads. These are things that you're responsible for. We will let you know about a maintenance program that's available through Ford. It's just not part of your base factory warranty. The second part's a bit more ambiguous, Dan. They do not cover the replacement parts that fail due to normal wear and tear. Now, normal wear and tear is going to fall somewhere between maintenance and defects. Generally speaking, Dan, you're going to see that that's going to be in electronics. Now, that's not to say at all that your electronics are not covered. It just means that if they wear out, they're not covered at all unless you have Ford's ESP. So with Ford's ESP, they actually literally changed the verbiage to state the following. It says failure of covered components due to defects in material and workmanship, which is already covered in your factory coverage now, and normal wear and tear, which as we pointed out is not covered at all, would now be covered with Ford's ESP coverage. So every component on the vehicle of the mechanical portion is covered to up to 125,000 miles, even if that part happens to wear out during that period of time and that mileage. And that is offered through Ford's ESP. Also, Ford will not cover any damage caused by use or the environment. So stuff like dents and dings. Any dents and dings you get on the vehicle would not be covered by Ford. Cuts, burns, punctures, tears, or even coffee stains would not be covered. Road salt, which is corrosive to the paint. Tree sap, bird and bee droppings. I have no idea what a bee dropping is, but it must be really bad because Ford actually puts it in there that it's not covered. They also will not cover any windstorm, lightning, or hail. So any questions on any of the limitations from the factory coverage for you, Dan?
No, there are no questions at all.
Okay, fantastic. Now we'll go ahead and let you know the things that are available for you, where you can cover these things that are not covered through the factory coverage, all right?
Yeah. All right. Great. Hey, Greg, thank you. Can I ask you a couple questions?
Absolutely,
Maybe shed some light on it?
Yes.
So I know you use the warranty manual. There's a prop, and you have it highlighted.
Yes.
But I also noticed that you spoke exactly from memory of it. You weren't reading out of it.
Correct.
Why do you think that's important?
Well, I think I think the strength of it comes from the fact that this is not my words, this is the words from the factory, and there's a lot of credibility that comes when you know it well enough, and it shows that you have to say this to everybody so they have full understanding of what it is. It really draws the customer in when they can hear that you're saying the exact words that are on the page, and it tends to really keep their focus. It also tends to keep people engaged in the process. Right from the very get-go.
And then I noticed I like the way you kind of set yourself up there for dent guard.
Yes.
And for the Richeson presentation. Now, when do you go into explaining your resistol? Do you do that during your menu presentation?
Yes, absolutely. So from there, we'll roll into the menu after I ask them if they have any questions about any limitations, then roll straight into the warranties or into the actual menu, start up here and say, make sure that we verified the fact that they were quoted terms, what the payment was of those terms, and then go straight over here to the premium option and start to talk about the things that are available here, and also tie them back to the things that we just talked about that either were covered or were not covered in the factory portion of the warranty coverage.
Okay. And how about your pricing? How do you set your pricing up on your menu?
To the defaults from MenuVantage. I don't change any of the pricing up front. From what it is, it's what it defaults into MenuVantage. That's exactly what we start with, and that's it.
Do you do much packaging of products when it comes to like discounting price or anything like
absolutely,
that?
Absolutely.
What are some of your favorite packaging?
We really try and put together Resistol, DentGuard, Gap, and ESP together a lot of times. So when we're going over all the options, we do let them know that you can't do it on an a la carte basis, but kind of tend to push people towards what most people tend to get, and we'll let them know that the most favorable packages are those four together, because you get a good discount on those four, and those are the things that most people find the most value in for themselves long term.
Great. And you've been doing this a long time, Greg. We've always had a lot of good conversations about F&I and the business in general. Any words of wisdom you'd like to share with anybody?
It's a fantastic career, and just know your craft. It's just really important to always be learning, studying. I'm constantly looking for different ways to be successful with this, and none of this is anything that I've come up with on my own. This is all bits and pieces of modeling from lots of different successful people I've had the pleasure of being involved with over the years.
Well, thank you for your time, Greg.
Thank you, Dan.